Hi students. Pelvi, are you there? Yes. Okay. So I can hear some background noise, but students, am I audible to you all? If I am audible, can you just put Y in the chat box, students? Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Students, if you don't mind, can you just speak just to check my sound system is fine? Can someone check? Vamsi, can you give it a try, please?
Hi, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I can hear you.
Thank you.
Okay. So students, now before we go into the ratio calculation, I'm going to read the financial analysis and make you understand how you want to think. So I can have Shailvi. Shailvi, are you there? Can you communicate if possible?
Yes, sir.
Shailvi, now you have done the OTQ papers as well. So if you
Yes, sir.
observe, CIMA means Chartered Institute of Management Accounting. Agree, no? So my
Yes, sir.
question to you, in the OTQs also, did you study anything related to accounting? Or it is
Sir, transfer pricing can be.
transfer pricing, all you would have studied, but did you study like a chartered accountant, accounting institute?
No, sir.
No, right? So students, I just want to give the positioning here. CIMA is like a consultation course. You get what I'm saying. Now, Vamsi, you have done the SCS, so you already know they will never ask you to prepare a question calculation. What do you think, Vamsi? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
They
Yes, sir.
will give you a consultation service only. So the success of a consultant is how much he is involved with the industry. Now, students, consultancy businesses, they should be involved with the industry. If they are not good with the industry, they may be not good consultant. They may be theory-wise very good people. So students, that's the first explanation I need to keep in mind. So students, if you observe 2019 to 20, they have given. And then students here, they have put N dollar million. That is very clear. And it's in $1 million, N dollar currency. So students, we are operating in two countries as well. One is Farland, agree no students? One is the Farland, and in Farland, what currency they use? F dollars. And the other one is the Eastland, and in the Eastland, what currency they use, students? E dollars. So students, we are anyway exposed to some translation risk as well. And here they have mentioned ARRFIELD group only. So revenue they have mentioned, then operating costs they have mentioned. Because students, if you see airport business, do you have production? Now, if you see the normal financial statements, we have revenue, and then what we have? Cost of sales, right? So cost of sales is for businesses which has production. Are you understanding what I'm saying, students? Now here we don't have any production. We don't produce anything. We use the airport as a platform for airlines to depart the passengers. So students, we have operational cost only. And students, if you see operating profit is directly given and finance cost is given. And my next question is, do we have distribution? My next question, do we have distribution, students? In airport, distribution or it's operation? Actually, it's operation only, because we don't deliver any products to outside our airport as well. And then students, another question I have for you is, we don't have any marketing cost as well, because students, we don't have any marketing cost. The main reason is we are B2B segment. What segment, students? B2B segment, business to business segment. And then students, they have given the tax expenses, which is increasing, and profit for the year. So students, one thing, we have something called other comprehensive income, which is not given, students. So we can put a star for that as well. So students, before I go into the analysis of the statement of changes in equity, overall, can you just put Y in the chat box if this is fine? And I prefer, students, you can write these things down. Why there is no cost of sale? Why there is no marketing cost? That is the consultations thinking angle. The consultations thinking angle. Because students, in accountancy, we study the process, but we don't study the application. So just remember that, students. Okay. So thank you very much for that. So students, coming to the next one, they are specifically stating the currency reserve. Actually, students, the currency reserve, currently we are having a negative opening balance, but at the moment there is a gain on translation. There's a gain on translation. That means, students, listen carefully. We are in Noland. We are in Noland, okay? And we are receiving money. We are receiving money from Eastland. And what is the other country, students? Eastland and Farland. So students, when we are receiving money and if it is a gain, that means our currency is what, students? Our currency is what, students? Depreciating. Now, example, students, let's assume INR. Let's assume INR today is 60, okay? And tomorrow is 70. So what happens is, in this case, INR is depreciated. Suppose if you are an exporter, you will get a gain in this scenario. Suppose if you are an importer, you will be ending up as a loss. So gain is when the income comes into the country, and loss is during the depreciation time when the money goes outside the country. So this is just a fundamental understanding that you need to keep in mind. So before I move into the next explanation, any questions, any doubts you have, students, you can ask me. If the explanation is clear, students, please put Y in the chat box. Excellent, students. Thank you very much for your comments. Okay. So students, now if you observe, opening share capital balance is positive, retained earnings is wonderful balance. And here, so I want one of my student in my class to calculate the dividend payout. Students, can you calculate the dividend payout and put it in the chat box, students? Dividend payout, because we have a profit for the year and a dividend for the year. Students, you can start working, students, and you can put the dividend payout. I will guide you as well. So students, if you observe, the profit for the year is 1,465, and students, the dividend they have distributed is 884. So if you multiply that by 100, students, can you please tell me what will be the dividend payout? Can you start working? Vamsi, is this calculation clear for you? Vamsi, the dividend payout, is it clear for you? You can use your mic, Vamsi. Yes, right? So students, can you start appraising this, please? Can you start appraising this, please? And can you please tell me what is the answer you are getting? Thank you very much, Jaydeep. It is 60.34. That is the correct answer. 60.34. 60.34 is the dividend payout. So students, they are paying dividends more than 50%. So the retained earnings is somewhere around, I can say 39 point, because 39 point, I can say 39.66, correct. 39.66 is the retained earnings for that current year. So students, before I move into the segmental revenue, any questions in this you can ask me. If this is clear for you, students, can you just put Y in the chat box, students? If this is clear for you, can you just put Y in the chat box, please? Excellent, students. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So students, now I will be doing this separately in a working sheet. So I will move into the statement of financial position. This one I am not skipping, students. I will be doing today itself, but I will go here in detail. We will go through. So students, we are observing property, plant and equipments. This consists, Vamsi, can you tell me one of our property, plant and equipment in business language? Jaydeep, can you tell me a property, plant and equipment in business language? Shailvi?
So the runways,
Very good. One is the runway. Runway is
the terminal buildings.
Excellent. Runway, terminal buildings.
Aprons.
Students, yes, correct. Students, if you don't mind.
Hangars.
Correct. But you should have answered this first, students. So I think now Shailvi has given a great try. Thank you very much, Shailvi, for that wonderful way of encountering the questions. So students, now you are not an accountant here. You are a consultant type of accountant. So property, plant and equipment, what you study in the class is IAS 16, right? Now here they won't ask you to explain IAS 16. They will be asking you the applications of these, students. And students, can you remember CCI, what is CCI, students? Can you tell me what is CCI?
Capital City.
Capital City International.
Capital City International. So Capital City International, students, has how many terminals in total?
4.
Four are
terminals.
there, and the fourth one was recently added. What do you think? Yes or no? Because the
Yes.
fourth one was recently added. So students, just be very much practical. Now I think, students, when I'm doing the analysis, even without doing any fractions, you are observing like a consultant here. You are not at all thinking like a student. You are thinking like an industry expert. So can you just connect this if you have the paper with you? And can you please put Y in the chat box, students? If it is clear for you, can you just put Y in the chat box? Excellent. So students, can you tell me intangible assets in business language?
Sir, the license to operate the hub orbit.
You are very much correct. So we have some terms here. If you don't mind, can you just say? One is, I can say, code sharing, yes or no, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I think the code sharing arrangement should be even done with the flight airlines, and also there needs to be a code sharing between the airport as well. Agree or not agree? Yes or no? Correct. And one more thing, students, can you tell me the regulatory bodies that is taking care of this aeroplane, students? The regulatory bodies that is in this mention. They have mentioned a regulatory body.
Air traffic control.
Air traffic control. So students, for air traffic control, we may definitely have some intangible asset. And students, we are heavily reliant on the IT systems. What do you think, Shelvi? Yes or no? Agree or not agree?
Yes, sir.
Example for barcode, after that baggage handling, all those things we are tracking that. So students, intangible assets are these things. So can you just jot that down, students, before we come back to the other sections? Thank you. So Shelvi, can we little progress if you don't mind? Yes or no?
Sorry, sir.
Can we progress with the class? Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure.
Now, if you look at inventories, can you tell me some inventory categories in the business language?
So can it be the retail stock?
Okay. But other than that, what about the fuels? What do you think?
Fuel.
Yes or no?
Yes,
Because
sir.
we need to have the fuel capacity. And what about the hangars? Can you remember hangars? Yes or no? Because every airport has an hangars where they need to do the repair and maintenance. Agree or not agree, students? Yes or no? And then, students, what about the food in the hub airport? Because if you observe the hub airport, it's very important that the refreshments are served, because the passengers are traveling in the short run or the long run, students. Long run, right? So generally, if you see CCI and the CCM is a hub airport, right, students? Yes or no? So just keep that in mind. Trade receivables, students. Can you tell me the trade receivables? What should be the trade receivables here, students? Trade receivables. Can I say the trade receivables are like aeronautical revenue? Can you remember, students? We have aeronautical revenue, example, landing charges, everything. And I think, students, some major airlines, they may pay it little, small difference time they may take. So if you observe, our organization is heavily reliant on no fly, right? Yes or no, students? Now, our airport is heavily reliant on no fly. So there may be some relationship where you would have given them some time. And also non-aeronautics, like the duty-free people also may take time to pay the money, right, students? Yes or no? Agree? Fine with that, students? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So the bank is anyway general, no, students? Bank balance is general. And frankly speaking, students, the bank balance is high because students, if you observe, this is a highly regulated sector. So they may have to keep a minimum bank balance. Like if you are running a bank, there is something called SRR, statutory rate of ratio, where the bank should have a minimum balance in order to operate a bank. So just keep that in mind. That is the major reasons behind that. So students, I will come to the equity. So the share capital, it's very clear. There is no change. Currency reserves, it's a negative reserve. Okay, only in this year there was a positive exchange movement. But in the previous years, I think it's a negative because Norland is what country, students? Norland is a developed country, right? If I'm not mistaken. And it's a huge country surrounded by the sea as well. Developed and huge country as well. So I think they are very having a strong currency in their country compared with the Farland and the Eastland. So the return earnings is also correct. And if you observe, the borrowing has increased. They have taken additional funding. And I can think that this additional funding should be to construct that new terminal in CCI. What do you think, students? Yes or no? Because there is a new terminal in CCI, that is the Capital City International. For that, they would have funded or not funded. What do you think? Yes or no, Shailvi? Agree or not agree?
Agreed.
Agree, right? Because students, if you see share capital balance, there is no change at all, but borrowing balance is high. So students, F3, I will come to the point. So they have gone into the debt finance. And students, can you remember, debt finance is always cheaper than what, students? Equity finance, because the interest is what, students? Interest is always what, students? Fixed, right?
Tax deduct.
Correct. So students, trade payables in this case will be generally whom? What do you think? So whom will be our trade payables here? Our trade payables in this case, can someone tell me who will be our trade payables here, students?
Sir,
Can
the
I
food
say
vendor supplier.
food vendor, fuel suppliers? What do you think, students? Yes or no? Because we will be taking fuel on a credit basis. Agree or not agree, students? Yes or no? Because if you see, that's very important. And the tax liability is fine. Provisions, there is a provisions. Can I put a star for this, students? Provisions. Now students, provision means I can say this is highly interrelated with a legal provision. Can I say the legal provision what we will face is something called sound pollution? Can you remember, students, sound pollution is one problem that is causing the neighborhood. Agree or not agree, students? Yes or no? So do you think we may have court cases with the neighborhood? What do you think, students? Yes or no? Jaydeep, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So students, if you don't mind, can you just take this analysis down? So I want honest answer. Vamsi, were you able to analyze like this?
Yes, sir.
Provisions, did you understood sound pollution, everything?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Super. Shailvi, were you able to do that? Honest answer. Because I'm
No,
tracking
sir.
your mind. No, right?
No,
All
sir.
right. Jaydeep, were you able to track like this?
No, sir.
No. Mr. Amit, were you able to track this, Mr. Amit?
Not exactly like this.
Not exactly, no?
Yes,
No
yes.
problem. So, Aju, were you able to check this?
Yeah, provisions I can connect with it's a regulatory related. That point I got it.
Noise pollution, were you able to connect that with the business?
Not much.
Not much, right? So
Yeah,
students now see the way we are connecting here. Now I told you, you are already qualified accountant. You are very much known and very high level standard. But nowadays businesses want accountants with business application. That means you should not know theory. That's not like that. Your theory knowledge is important, but your judgment should be to the industry based judgment. So please take that down, students. So any questions you can ask me, students. If it is fine, I can quickly go to our next competitor, Skyline. Can we go, students?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So students, if you observe here, again, the revenues are growing. I think we will be doing that. Again, it's $N millions and it's growing, and it's a group entity as well. And again, the operating cost almost comparable financial statements. Finance cost is increasing, tax expenses. So anyway, we will go through all those in detail. And then students, if you observe here again, if you see students, this company does not have what reserves? Foreign currency translation reserve. Do you observe that, students? This company does not have foreign currency, what, students? Translation reserve. So students, they are only dominant in which area? I can say they are very strong only in Norland, right? But if you observe our company, we are very established in Eastland, and also we are very much established in what place, students? Farland as well. But this company doesn't have the foreign currency translation here. So just keep that in mind for your understanding purpose. So students, if you don't mind, can we do the calculation for the dividend payout ratio? So students, can you start working with the dividend payout ratio? Dividend payout ratio. Can we start working on that, students? Yes, we can start working on that. So if you observe here, students, the dividend paid is 79 and the profit for the year is 551. So I multiply that by 100. So students, shall we start working? 79 divided by 551, that will effectively give you an answer of how much, students? Can you please tell me what will be the answer, students? Very good, 14.33. So students, these guys are paying 14.33 as a dividend. That means their retention or the retained earnings, okay, the retention is very high, right, students? The retention is somewhere around 85 point, I can say 85.67%. Now students, it's a complication here, because if you see our company's retention is somewhere around how much, students? Somewhere around, I can say 39, and this guy is having a retention of 85. So students, what do you think, students? I can say Skyline has a better growth prospect. Agree or not agree, students? Better growth prospect, because they have a lot of reserves. When you have a lot of reserves, students, your investment opportunities will be very high. What do you think, students? Yes or no? Because students, they can invest more in new airports as well. So students, can there be a situation that this company taking over one of our airport, because these guys has a lot of money with them compared with us? So there can be a situation like that. Just a hypothetical prediction only, students, not correct one. So just for your understanding. So before we go on to the next analysis, if you have any questions, students, can you please ask me? If the explanation was fine for you, students, can you please put Y in the chat box, students? Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So students, if you observe here, let's come to the next point, and we have already done the analysis. Runway, everything is only property, plant and equipment here, runway, terminals, everything. So intangible assets also we have done. And then students, inventory, trade receivables and the bank. So we have analyzed that as well. Share capital, retained earnings, borrowings is, if you see here, students, here it is reducing. Here it is reducing. They are paying back the money. Okay, they are paying back the money. That means they are increasing the credit score. The credit score will become updated when you return the money. So there may be a situation they are planning to expand. There can be a situation. And then students, if you see, trade payables are increasing, tax is increased, and the provision. And there is a provision here as well. So students, I can generally say the provisions can be with sound pollution. That is one more thing. And students, there is one more provision we say as provision for dismantling. Have you heard that, students? Provision for dismantling. Provision for dismantling. Provision for dismantling means, students, these airports construct, right? So when they are constructing students, when they are constructing runways, what happens is they need to create a provision because runways take times to construct. So when the construction of the runway is over, they need to make or restore the place as to the normal. So restoration cost of the future is only provision for dismantling. So that is one more thing in this industry per se. So students, before we go into the share price, everything, we have observed that in the last class, but now we can go into the ratio discussion, but any questions you have, you can ask me, students. Now we can go into the ratio discussion, but any questions you have here, you can openly ask me, students. If it is fine for you, you can put Y in the chat box, students. Excellent. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. So students, now let's come into the Word document. And students, if you are able to see the Word document, can you please put Y in the chat box, students? If the Word document is visible in your screen, can you please put Y in the chat box? Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Excellent. So students, if you observe here, let's start working on this. Skyline and the revenues are almost the same increase. So can you remember, students, we were learning the business ecosystem. There was something called what, students? Lion's pride. Can you remember, students? Yes or no? Lion's pride is when the orchestration is high and when the complexity is also high. When the orchestration is high and the complexity is also what, students? High, what happens is they have an added advantage called lion's pride. In other words, these two guys will be dominating the market whatever their strengths they have. So I can observe, students, this is specifically a lion's pride in this situation. So any questions you have, you can let me know. But I can generally say the revenues are very much equal because of the lion's pride situation they have, students. Can you remember in the previous class we were doing that analysis, yes or no? So Shelby, any discussions you have, you can make it to a point. But I can see the growths are almost similar, very close by because of the high orchestration and the high complexity. What do you think, Shelby?
Yes, sir.
Correct, right? So students, now this is the growth. I'm not going through the ratio calculation. I'll go through it later. But if you observe the growth wise, if you see it is equal, almost equal, because Lion's Pride, students, because if you practically observe, students, in reality, these Lion's Pride businesses will always maintain a good relationship between them, and there will be high complexity. Boeing's and Airbus, if you see, those two guys are the only producers of aeroplanes, so they are also having a Lion's Pride situation. In other words, government will not make the third party come inside, and these guys will not fight with the price war. They will be united with each other. So students, then we have something called the operating cost. Again, I can say Lion's Pride. And the second thing I can say is there is a control of prices from the aviation regulatory bodies, right, students? Because it is highly regulated. Aviation regulatory bodies will definitely have a control of the prices. Aviation regulatory bodies have control over the prices, students. And again, students, if you see here also, I can say Lion's Pride, but the only difference, there's a slight difference, is there is a, I can say, if you observe, students, foreign currency transactions is there. So students, foreign currency transactions is one thing, because one company has foreign currency, other company does not have foreign currency. That can be another reason as well. And I can say geographical differences also, because students, if you see, every country has their own regulations, correct, students? So geographical differences would have made this slight changes, geographical differences. And students, if you observe the finance cost, this is anyway technical. So I can say here the borrowing rates. So here I cannot comment anything related to the industry because it's a macro factor. And profit before tax also, if you see, almost the same. So I can say net effect, and I can say Lion's Pride, net effects, Lion's Pride. And then students, if you observe the taxation as well, I can say the macro environment I can generally comment about that. And then students, if you see profit for the year, almost between the same range only. So again, I can write down here, students, lion's pride. So lion's pride, the beauty of lion's pride, it's good for the businessmen, but it's not good for the people. Why it is not good for the people is this lion's pride businesses are generally the price maker. Who are they, students? Price maker. They make the price. Price makers, we can say. So students, this is the basic understanding. That's what I told you, students. When you are analyzing the financial statements industry point of view, you should be very much thorough with the stereotypes of the ecosystem. Students, if you don't mind, can you comment the 4 types of ecosystems, how the industries are structured? Just a revision, students. If you don't mind, can you type it in the chat box, please? The 4 types of industry structure, if you don't mind, please. The 4 types of industry structure. Just a revision. So one type is already there, students. The one type what is already there is what, students? It is the lion's pride. That is very clear for you. Then the other segment is what, students? Other segment is, can someone chat in the chat box? Yes, I got the answer. Very good, students. Wolf Gang, Shark Tank, and Hornet Nest. Okay, so I'll write down here. Wolf Gang is one more area. And then we have the Hornet Nest. And the final one is known as the Shark Tank. So the Shark Tank is the most riskiest business segment, where the sustainability of that business will not be long time. So students, just remember, these are the stereotypes in a business environment, and this knowledge is essential for a consultant to plan and give some good advisories. So students, growth analysis is done. Then we are going to do the revenue analysis. So before we go into the revenue analysis, if you have any questions, any doubts in the growth analysis, can you ask me? But if you are clear with the explanation, students, can you please put Y in the chat box, students? If you are clear with the explanation, can you please put Y in the chat box?
Sir,
Yes, please.
So Skyline has reduced its borrowings a lot, although the finance cost has increased. Could this be the reason that the Skyline has Skyline might have what do you call it?
No, can I be very frank? Can I say like this? They
Is
have
it because of
repaid.
the covenants?
No,
Breach
I'll
of
say
any
here,
covenant?
they have repaid at the end. Repaid at the end. You get what I'm saying. Now let's
Okay.
assume if you repay at the end, still you need to pay almost 12 months
Finance.
interest. Are you
Okay,
understanding what I'm saying?
Understood, sir. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Sir, I have a doubt in the tax expense.
Yes, please.
How can a tax expense vary for the same sectored business of 2 organizations?
Frankly speaking, it depends on the size of the organization and the location. Now, if you see here, the tax expense is little difference, because if you observe, our company has a location strength. Agree? Because we are in the commercial location. Like if you see in Maharashtra and Karnataka, the tax rates are very, very complicated. But when you go to Uttar Pradesh and the northern region, it is little less. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got it, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So students, any other questions you can ask me, students. But if it is clear for you, students, can you put Y in the chat box, students? If it is clear for you, just another Y. Thank you, students. Thank you, students. Thank you. Jaideep, any questions you have, you can ask me, Jaideep. Anything you have?
No, sir.
No? Good, good. Anup, any questions, Anup?
Mr. Nufil, I have one question.
Yes,
the
please.
revenue growth, in the revenue growth, Skylon is also having the 5.3%, which is equivalent to ARRFIELD. The main concern is that Skylon is carrying only 3 airports. One is non-hub and another one is 2 hub airports, and they are not having the operation outside Nordland, but still they are having the growth equivalent to us.
Correct.
That means if
I'll tell you that
they
now.
develop, yeah.
No, I'll tell you that point. So if you observe, we are not comparing Skyline and AirField because we compare Skylines last year with Skylines this year. So they're having an equivalent growth. We compare ARRFIELD last year with this year. In percentage, they are equivalent. But if you see on numbers, I feel ARRFIELD will have a better content because they are having more operations, like you are saying. But in percentage wise, if you see, they both are almost showing equivalent. The meaning is in this type of segment where the competition is controlled, the percentage growth is also controlled by the sectors. But like you are saying, I agree, the amount will be different. Amount for our field will be bigger compared with Skyline. Are you clear with that, Mr. Anup?
Right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Excellent. So students, now let's come to the revenue analysis. So aeronautical revenue. So Shailvi, if you don't mind, can you tell me what is aeronautical income?
The income from runway,
Very good.
usage, the airlines when they use the gates, the check-in and the runways. That was
Terminal, check-in.
landings and departure.
Excellent. Check-in, landing and departure. Students, remember these terms because I want you to be more industry oriented. Very good.
Hangars.
Correct. Hangars also.
Hangars and aprons.
Correct. So that's fine. That's fine. So it is having only 1.54%. Can I say you why it is having 1.54%? One thing can be inflation. One thing can be what, students? Inflation. Why I am using the term inflation is our airports are full capacity. What do you think, Shailvi? Yes or no? Our airports are operating at full capacity. Agree or not agree? The
Agreed.
hub airports. So 1.54 is a reasonable growth because I cannot say we are unable to expand it more than this, students, because almost 70 odd aeroplanes are flying in our airport. So I think we are really a busy airport. I will write down here a busy airport. And students, just for your understanding, Mumbai International Airport is the world's busiest airport. Mumbai Airport is still considered as the world's busiest airport, not Dubai or anything, just for your understanding, students. So they can't grow more than this. So students, my observation here, can there be an international expansion? What do you think, Shailvi? Can there be an international expansion?
So it is very hard because the nearby areas might be, there
Correct.
can be a possibility, but the areas might be crowded.
Correct. So can we go for an outside our country to another new region, because we have 6 airports in total? So can we have the 7th airport in our case study final exam? Possible or not possible? A
Possible.
scenario. Possible, right? So students, look at the way you are improving the way of thinking here, because when the airport is full and it is busy, if you want to make growth in your operations, you will go to another country. And I'll give you a basic example, not in the aeroplane industry. Ola is now in New Zealand. Are you aware about that, Shailvi? Ola cabs are available in New Zealand. And
No,
also
sir, I
Ola
wasn't.
has gone to UK as well. Because students, if you see, Ola is currently dominating the Indian market, right, students? If you observe with Uber, they are competing extremely better and they are dominating the market. So when the market is becoming tight, they will move into a new market as well. So that's a good point, students. So can we come to the non-aeronautical retail and dining? It is 33.98 increase. So students, what are the reasons I can generally say is, can I write down here tie-ups? Yes or no, students? Tie-ups with new retail chains. Possible or not possible, students? Retail chains. Tie-up with new retail chains. New retail chains. Example, can I mention KFC, McDonald's? Possible or not possible? I am asking you. Just asking you. Agree, right? Students, this bigger food organization, KFC, McDonald's, you may find this in many of the international airport, Nescafe. Agree, no students? Yes or no? Nescafe will be there. And students, I think, can someone tell me there's a bookshop, international bookshop there every airport? By any chance, can someone remember that airport, that bookshop's name?
Crossword?
I will write crossword, but it is not crossword. But there is an international chain everywhere in the world. It's also there in India International Airport. So students, I'll just mention crossword for the moment. So students, if you observe, I think they are handling a good relationship. So can I just write down here? Airport managers having strong relationship. I feel so, students. I think, did you see any complaints given to our airport managers in the precinct? Did you ever see any complaints coming with our airport managers? Even though our operations are decentralized, our airport managers, I think they are wonderfully good with managing the relationship with all the partners, airline partners, and also the retail and dining section as well. So students, coming to the next one, car parking has dropped. So I have put here, it's a minus, that's what I put drop. But car rental has gone to 5.41. So students, it is I can say an inverse relationship, right? Because car parking will take place when you have your own car. Agree or not agree, students? Yes or no? Car rental is like airport taxi. Can you remember, students? And Uber, Ola, those type is car rental. Car rentals are going up means car parking will go down. What do you think, Shelby? Yes or no? There is a
Yes, sir.
inverse relationship. So I will connect these two together. So I'll write down Uber, Ola, airport taxi, because these services are there in many organizations, will not require car park. And when the internet reach is high, this may increase. What do you think, students? Yes or no? Because even if you come to any countries nowadays, you can use the internet in the airport, or you can have the international roaming and come back. And the car parking, I can generally say, the car rentals would have reduced the parking charges. Agree, no, students? That is 100% true, no? Because I think there was a time in the old era when people are coming from abroad, people go to the airport and they wait when the flight is coming almost 1 hour. But nowadays, people are not going to the airport, right, students? The person who is coming is directly taking a cab and coming to the home, because it is so accessible and the price is also reasonable. So any questions in the car parking and the car rental, students? If it is fine, you can put Y in the chat box. Thank you very much, students. Now the advertising, I can obviously say one is duty free. Duty free, they advertise boarding. And then students, further advertising can be airlines, right, students? Airlines will be advertising their main products. And also I can say, students, fashion retails will be there. So students, if you see, advertising is a very good aspect here. And can I say one more thing, students? International events. Now, international events plays a major role, right? Because if you go to the airport nowadays, especially the Bangalore airport, everything, you will be seeing Royal Challengers Bangalore advertisement or Chennai Super Kings advertisement in the South Indian region. And I'm 100% sure if you get a chance to go in the Mumbai Chhatrapati Shivaji Airport, you will be seeing the Mumbai Indians advertisement. So students, do you see the international events play a major role in advertising? Yes or no, students? It makes a lot of sense. So students, before I move into the other aspects, any questions you have, you can ask me. So if it is fine for you, students, you can put Y in the chat box. Thank you very much, students, for the points. So students, what I will move next is, students, I will concentrate on the recharging utilities. So students, if you observe the recharging utilities, I can generally say is something called internet. Internet can be one, okay? Internet access, then I can specifically focus on the other recharging facilities such as call to phone. Okay, call to phones, you can do that. And then students, I can generally focus on, I can say, power stations for mobile phones, something like that. They, since it's a private airport, they would may charge money as well, I think. So that is the recharging utilities. And property and real estate, it is 57.97. So can we have a small discussion with Shailvi? Shailvi, why you think it is 57.97%? What is the reason?
No idea, sir.
No idea, because can I say location stability? What do you think, students? Because are we in a posh location? What do you think, students? Yes or no? Because all our airport is in one of the, I can say one of the center location. In a center location, do you think, students, the value of the land, everything will be expensive or cheap, students? Very much expensive, right? What do you think, students? Even if they are renting out a terminal in a very high location, which is having an international strength as a hub airport, I think the values will be really high. Example, I can say, students, the Mumbai airport will definitely have an extremely high property value, because it is one of the busiest airport, and Mumbai is one of the busiest business city as well. So students, you get the business acumen here, I think so, because our location strength. And then
Sir, but
students,
would
yes,
that
please.
be called as a revenue? Like that would be capital appreciation.
No, it can be a revenue. Example, I will say you, one is capital appreciation because it's a revenue analysis, because we can rent out our I can say our airport bare lands, everything. Example, for catering we can give, storage we can give, because can you remember, I'll write down here storage. Can you remember that freight is also one of our major business other than commercial passengers as well. So storage, Amazon, Alibaba, everything will pay premium for this company because of this location strength. Are you getting what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I have a doubt here, sir.
Yes, Vamsi.
So this is plant property and equipment, right?
No, property and real estate.
Yeah, this is the PP, the capital.
No, plant is different. Plant only comes with the terminal, everything. Property can be land, building, your space, everything. Real estate is the bare lands.
So is this the revaluation?
No, revaluation cannot be reflected in the revenue. This is the rental income that you get. You get what I'm saying?
If this is rental income, why would it be added to the property?
No, it's the property and real estate rental income. I can say, we say as at IAS 40, the assets, investment property, we say the assets which are held for capital revenue purpose only. Example, if you see Hilton hotels will have their room booking, everything under the revenue. Are you understanding? So if you go to an airport and if you find a small tea shop, they will fall under the revenue. And if you see this dining and the other one, I will come to retail and dining. I can say here, this is commission income. Can you remember, students? There is something called commission income as well, because these guys should pay a commission as well. The revenue sharing agreement is there. Plus, some guys should pay the location rent as well. Are you getting what I'm saying there, Vamsi? Yes or no? Okay, Shailvi, is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So students, I'll come to the fuel sales. So fuel sales is 5.35. So I can say the price of the fuel is also very the price of fuel is a demanding factor here, because when the fuel price goes up, still the price will go up. So the price of the fuel determines the range. So students, this is the revenue analysis, and it's a very good question on property and real estate. So students, just remember the tiny shops in the duty free is a property real estate income, because they need to pay money as well. And even if you see, sometimes you may have counters of special businesses like telecommunication providers, they sell SIM cards in the airport. So all those comes under this segment. And lounges will be there, where people can rest. There will be a bigger launch partner. So these guys will be paying the real estate income. So students, now let's come to the next one, that is the financial analysis here. So students, if you observe the financial analysis for the operating profit margins, again, if you see, do you see a close relationship in the margins? Yes or no, Shelby? Do you observe here the operating profit margins? There is no huge differences. Can you observe that? Yes or no? It's somewhere
sir.
in the 40-43, just around 3 to 4 difference. Again, you need to understand in a Lions Pride business, it is like this only, Lions Pride business segment. Lions Pride business segment, because in this segment, the orchestration level will be very high. The partners, the competitors will be united, and they will always have a strong control over the market. And again, students, if you observe the profit before tax margin, if you observe here, it is little less. But if you observe here, it is more. The only reason is this company incurred a foreign currency, what students? Foreign currency loss. Can you remember, students, foreign currency loss for ARRFIELD? Agree or not agree, students? Yes or no? But students, if you observe, the Skyline company, did they have any foreign currency loss? No, because do they have any foreign operations? No, right? So that is the reason. If we have no foreign operations, then I think we would have been little bit closer here, because 18 and 15, that loss, if we take off, it will be somewhere around 16 or 17. So I think that gives you a picture there. So any questions there, students, you can ask me, but if it is fine for you, you can put Y in the chat box. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Then profit for the year margin. Again, students, I can say the same thing. This market is controlled. And again, students, that's the reason. Because of that foreign currency loss only, there is a small deviation. And even if you see the ROCE, students, is the ROCE is same, almost the same, students, because it's a listed organization and it's in the Lions Pride as well. So in this segment, it will be same. One question, Shelby, can I ask you one more question just to make it more clearer? Shelby, what are the four, I can say 4 big players in the audit and accounting industry? Who are the big fours?
PwC, EY, Deloitte, and
KPMG. So
KPMG.
if you observe these 4 companies, do you think Shelby will be paying the same salary or will be a slight difference only?
Just slight differences.
Slight
Almost
difference
same.
only, right? Because they are very much united between each other. Agree or not agree? Yes or no? That's
Yes,
how
sir.
that Lions Pride segment will work out. Okay, now even if you see ROE, I can again say here, students, ROE is also dominant by this Lions Pride only. Small differences and the foreign exchange rate. And even if you see the asset turnover, what I can say is busy airport. I can write down here busy airports, okay? And almost both are having the same type of asset turnover. So they are very much busy airports. We can observe that, students. And then, students, if you look at the current ratio and the quick ratio, again, if you observe, it's like industry structure, almost same. So students, what I can say, it's again the Lions Pride segment, because they are not having much differences. Only in the quick ratio, there was a slight difference, I think, because of the taxation. Other than that, in operational point of view, there is no much differences. And the interest cover also, the industry segment wise, they are looking the same here, students. And the gearing, if you observe, can you observe, Shelby, why did the Skyline repay the loan? Because they are almost highly geared. You get what I'm saying there, Shelby? Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Because of the loan purpose, they would have cleared. So I can say we have borrowing capacity. We have a better borrowing capacity, better borrowing capacity. The main reason we have a better borrowing capacity. And one more thing, Shelby, can you remember? This company paid a dividend payout only around 13 or 14%. Can you remember that? Yes or no? But if you
Right,
see,
sir.
our company paid around 60% odd. So why
Right,
you
sir.
paid 15% is, I can say here, debt covenant. You get what I'm saying? Debt covenant
Yes, sir.
to Skyline. Because if you have a higher level of gearing, the banks will control your dividend policy as well. So that is the understanding there. And then students, inventory days, here I can having a question mark why it is 7.97. And if you see 2 to 3 days is the correct, because we have perishable stocks, right? Agree or not agree, students? Perishable stocks only our main thing, because food, if I'm not mistaken, because food maximum you can store it for 2 to 3 days. Agree, no? Yes or no, shall we? But if you see here 7.97, we need to have a question mark why it is 7.97 here. I believe they would have had more fuel capacity. Example, there would have been a drop in the airlines coming to their stores because they are in the second largest city, if I'm not mistaken. Fine.
Right, sir.
And the receivable day, students, if you observe here again, they have a problem in Skyline, because Skyline is having some financial issues. We can little observe that. But if you see our company, receivable days is 38 days. So for the airlines businesses they're giving, so I can say here airlines may take 38 days to pay, 38 days to pay. Okay, so that is one more thing. But if you see payable days, we have the strength, yes or no? Because if you see here, our cash, we get the cash in hand within 40 days. Agree or not agree, Shelby? You get what I'm saying? 2 plus 38 is 40. But payables is 90 days. So we have the capacity to delay the payments for almost 50 days. So can we write
Right,
down
sir.
here high bargaining power? Yes or no? High bargaining power with the suppliers. With whom? The suppliers. Example, I can say the food suppliers. Agree or not agree, students? Because that is real, students. If you observe bigger giant organization, they generally pay late. So that is the understanding. And the dividend payout, now it is very clear. Debt covenant, I can say debt covenant for whom, students? Debt covenant for I can say Skyline. Agree, students? Yes or no? Skyline, because they are highly geared organization. So students, I think we have done the analysis, but just remember, students, the Lion's Pride segment here, and I prefer, students, when you are writing the answer, please mention Lion's Pride in your answer when you're doing the segmental analysis. So students, what I will do is, students, I will ask you for an individual feedback now so that we can go through with you. So students, so your voice is not audible. Jaydeep, students, can you hear my voice?
We can
Yes.
hear you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so students, now I will go through the feedback session. So Miss Aju, any questions you have?
Nothing from my side.
Thank you very much. Mr. Amit, any questions you have?
I think just one point only. The rate of interest, I think that is a bit high in this case for this ARRFIELD. So what could be the reason for the same? Because the similar range when you see for this Skyline, I think it is much lower. Maybe I missed it in the I just joined.
1 minute, let's do the small calculation here. So that's a good question. Let's finish the proving as well. So if you observe our borrowing 18,667. So I will take it out here. Okay. So students, let's work with together 18,667 and 17,559. Okay. Now students, what we will do is let's quickly check the interest rate, interest amount that we are paying. 2344. And students, for the next year, the interest we are paying is 2442. Then we multiply that. Okay, so students, shall we start working on this? Yes, we can start working and calculate it. .82%. 13.35%. So students, if you have taken this down, you can put Y in the chat box. Then let's quickly do it for Skyline as well. Okay, can we come to that well? Yes. Students, Skyline, I will work with you all. So students, if you observe, the Skyline borrowing is 9452 and it is 11431. Okay, now what we will do is let's quickly observe the finance cost. The finance cost is 726. 756 multiplied by 100 multiplied by 100. So students, let's start working. 7569452. So here it is coming somewhere around 7 I can say 8%, effectively 8%, effectively 8%. 726 11431, that's coming somewhere around 6.35%. 6.35%. This is 8%. Okay, so if you observe, our company is generally having a higher rate of interest compared with our competitor organization. And if you observe, our competitor organization is generally having, I can say, is generally having a lower rate of interest. So I will come to this point. Mr. Amit, can you tell me, our company is a listed organization? Yes or no?
Yes.
That is already mentioned, right? But I am asking you, is Skyline a listed or non-listed organization?
I think it is not mentioned.
I'll tell you, it's a non-listed organization. How it is, if you see here, our total equity is how much? 9,302. Agree?
Yes.
But our total borrowing is 9,452. And even if you see,
level.
correct. So if you observe here, a non-listed company can take personal loans as well. Yes or no?
So that
Agree?
could be a group loans, you mean to say that?
Agree. So when they are non-listed, you can take personal loans and there is no need of corporate governance also. So what happens here in this case is they would have obtained loans from other sources as well at a nominal rate. Are you understanding what I'm mentioning there? Yes or no?
But then when you compare this with the return on the capital employed, it is not working out, it seems.
We can't compare this with the capital employed because we are only seeing the interest, because capital employed is not here, because here it is the equity balance. We say limited liability companies, if you observe.
Sir,
Yes, please.
Airfield being a listed quoted company, investors should have a way more confidence in Airfield than in any unquoted company.
Agree. And there is restrictions and the management needs to follow corporate governance. We have audit committees, everything. You get what I'm saying?
That
So,
gives more confidence to the shareholders.
Market. And even if you see here, we are having an equity balance of 46,404. But here the borrowing is only 18. Because according to the corporate governance, you can't borrow more than the equity balance. Are you getting what I'm saying, Mr. Amit? There's a restriction.
Yes.
But for a private business, there is no restriction. You can do anything like you like. Example, if you see, Kingfisher is a private entity, if I'm not mistaken. So that is the reason they were able to default the bank. Are you understanding what I'm saying, Mr.? Even if you see Jet Airways is not a listed organization. Clear? And one thing I will come, why our company is having a higher interest rate. Can I say one thing? Our company is listed, you all agree with me. And if you observe, our company has a beta range which is more than what, students? Our beta range is
1.15.
1.15. So when the beta range is 1.15, in other words, I'll teach you later in the capex, in the capital asset pricing theory. This is the streamline. Okay, what happens is when it is 1.15, the risk is known. The risk is what, students? Known. You get what I'm saying? When the business risk is known, I can say the unsystematic risk in simple language, the unsystematic risk, like a fault in the IT system, runaway crash, okay, those things, fueling issues, climate effects. So if you see the unsystematic risk, if you observe, students, is little challenging for our business. So that is the reason bank will give us at a higher rate. Are you clear with what I'm saying here, Mr. Amit? Yes or no?
But sir, even if you look at the gearing, the Skyline has 50% gearing, and
Correct. That's
to
the
be able
reason.
to avail
50% gearing is possible for a non-listed company.
sir, but to avail such huge amounts of loan at such nominal rates, that is a big thing. Like we being a Korean
Because
company
it can be
cannot.
unsecured loan as well. Because when you run your own business, Shailvi, you can do whatever you like. But when you run a corporate listed company, there is rules and regulation from the stock market. You get what I'm saying? That means 25% of the investors are general public. You get what I'm saying there, Shailvi? But if it is an unlisted organization, you can also run purely debt also. Are you clear there, Shailvi?
Sir, that is true. We can run on debt if you're an unlisted, but the rate of interest should be high for that.
No. Again, if you see in an unlisted company, you can go for informal loans as well. You get what I'm saying? You can go for informal loans. You can take loans from the partners, loan from the group. You understand what I'm saying? Like Kotak Mahindra and Mahindra. Kotak Mahindra can give money to Mahindra Group at a lower interest rate. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that is intra-company loans you can take. You get the point what I'm saying.
But sir, Airfield has a huge amount of property, plant and equipment to be given as mortgage, or no, not mortgage, like as a secured
Security.
loan. So,
but they are controlled by the stock market, right? So stock market will have a regulations for them. This is the amount maximum you can borrow. So the public is in the safer side. Public is you and me who has invested in Airfield. But if you see in the Skyline, there is no public investment, private investment only. Fine?
yes, sir.
Yes.
Fine, right, students? So students, that is the reason here, because here they can manipulate, because internally they can take loan. But if you look at a company like Airfield, for each and every transaction, there needs to be disclosure. Disclosures are compulsory here. And for this organization, disclosures are not much compulsory because it is a private sector organization.
Sir,
Yes.
when you look at the tax expense, Airfield has its operations in different countries such as Farland and Eastland, and one of the countries is not a developed country. We can presume that by the conditions that so it should be benefiting from the transfer pricing.
That is a
Little
different discussion we can think about, but it's not related to here.
I have an observation, sir.
Yes, please, Vamsi.
Relating to gearing, so may I talk after the question you have now?
Yes, Vamsi.
So may I ask the question, sir?
Please.
Sir, according to AICPA, like I read this previously, the effective gearing ratio is 50 to 50%. If it is less than 15, then we are missing out the tax shield. This is the first observation, which the other company or competitors have. And due to that, even the revenue growth rate is equivalent to that of the competitor. But when the expectations of the shareholders can be easily met because the the debt component which we are obliged to pay is not that high. So the revenue is equivalent to our competitors. So how is this possible, sir? Like our company is not performing effectively?
I cannot say our company is not performing effectively. Our company is performing very, very well, but our company is risk averse. Because in risk, there are three categories: risk averse, risk neutral, and the risk takers. So we are in the risk averse category because we are a public limited company. Because we need to go through all the committees before taking decision, and the decisions cannot be taken by the management only. It should be taken throughout the management, non-executive directors, and the key shareholders as well, whenever there is a financing decision. Are you clear what I'm saying? Yeah. Because just remember that 50-50 norm is a theoretical norm, but in the practical world, it differs from country to country, and differs from industry to industry, and differs from the risk attitude also. Fine?
Yes, sir. So may I take 2 seconds more, sir, please?
Okay.
Sir, in our competitors' business, there is 50% gap, which means the expectations of the shareholders have to be met. Then they need to invest in much more profitable portfolio.
Example, I can say you are not understanding. If you see, the other company is a non-listed company. So non-listed company, anyway, the shareholders are the management in simple language in a non-listed company.
Yes.
So their expectation can be controlled because they are the businessmen. But in a listed company, the public has invested from the promise given by the management. So that is the reason our company is paying 60% dividend, because we need to satisfy our investors who are general public. But in this case, we are exploiting the loan and we are paying a lower dividend as well, because I'll tell you, the shareholders may be directors who will be charging management fees as well and salaries as well. That possibility is also there. That's what the dividends are less. Are you understanding what I'm saying there?
I understood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So students, I'll just go through. So Jaydeep, any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. I asked from Anup also. So I think we all have discussed, students. So I will meet you on the Sunday class. Okay. So students, Sunday, let's start doing the mocks. Okay. So thank you very much, students. I'll meet you on Sunday. Take care, students. Good night, everyone.